Well, mainframes already had a security subsystem in them. They needed one because they were being used for banks. PCs now are coming along and being used for e-commerce. And when you send your credit card across the internet, that's not real safe. You need to encrypt it when it goes across the internet. You need to protect your system against viruses. Ransomware had actually already showed its head, and so people were worried about these things. We needed something to add to our PC to make it more secure. So we were trying to solve all those problems with the TPM, or at least make it possible to solve those problems with the TPM. Well, I worked on a lot of different parts. I remember Dave Grawrock and I counting bits that we could store inside a single RSA encryption. I think we were down to 3 bits left over by the time we got done. We just barely managed to cram everything in. If we needed another byte of data, we would not have been able to accomplish it. So he and I sat in front of a blackboard in Redmond one evening and just counted bits. So we got it, so yes, we could actually do it. That was a lot of fun, I still remember it. But we had a number of different challenges. How do we add time to the TPM? So you can't have a battery inside the TPM. So how do you associate an actual time with when a signature took place? And this is important if you're signing a contract, you need to know when it was signed. And we actually came up with a way of doing that with a timer by associating the timer with a real-time clock using signatures in a fairly complicated process, but we got it to work. We had limited amounts of non-volatile memory storage inside the TPM. We still do, and that makes for oceanfront property, we call it. You know, there's only a limited amount of it, and so you have to be very, very careful with how you use it. So that was one of the big challenges, and still is one of the challenges with the TPM. We've expanded the amount of NVRAM that's in the TPM, but it's always going to be oceanfront property, I think. I really like the policy in TPM 2.0. In 1.2, we had multiple ways of authentication. There were passwords, there were tying things to PCR values, there were changing passwords, and it seemed like every different object we had in the TPM used a different kind of authentication, which is a bit of a problem. It made it hard for the user who's writing programs for it to know how to actually authenticate to a particular object they're creating. So when we got to TPM 2.0, we found a way of making it all uniform. We had a policy, and with a policy, any object could have any policy, so you could authenticate to any object in exactly the same way. And we also expanded which ways you could use to authenticate to objects. Not just PCRs, not just passwords, but we could use digital signatures. And that meant we could add in fingerprint readers, we could add in GPS units, we could basically any policy that you can think of, we can associate with an object in a TPM. So you can only use it if, say, John uses a password, or Sally uses a smart card, or Bill uses a smart card and a password and a fingerprint reader. You can make that a policy, and then that's how you authenticate that particular object. And any object in the TPM, you can do that. That's pretty cool. Well, early on, all we did was work on the TPM. It was other things that came up afterwards. We had Opal drives, or self-encrypting drives, and the main driver of that was so when somebody was done with the drive and wanted to sanitize it, instead of either running a routine that would take hours to overwrite the thing 7 times, or running it through a shredder, people actually put hard drives through shredders to make sure that the data was gone. But if all the data is encrypted, all you have to do is destroy the key. And so in an Opal drive, you can tell the key to go away. And now all the data goes away with it. It takes microseconds. And now the hard drive is sanitized. That is cool. It saves money that people understand. We can do a lot of other things with Opal drives, but that was one of the second things I think that we started working on. But we've moved on into all sorts of things since then.